Imagine logging off for the weekend, but right before closing your laptop, you assign a feature request directly to an autonomous agent. When you return, a complete draft pull request is waiting for your review. The responsibilities of a developer are expanding. Instead of manually typing out every function and debugging every syntax error, engineers are directing an active system to execute the manual labor. Up until recently, AI assistance meant inline autocomplete, guessing the next few words at the blinking cursor. Now, we are packaging up complete self-contained tasks and handing them off entirely. You provide the comprehensive instructions right at the start. The system processes the entire objective, mapping out the necessary logic before it writes a single character. This specific workflow is actively running today for users on Copilot Pro, Pro Plus, Business, and Enterprise tiers. Because of this, the tools used to track project sprints are no longer passive administrative checklists. They are directly linked to the execution of the code itself, which forces us to look closely at the mechanics. We need to know what actually happens in the background when a static project ticket transforms into a dynamic, autonomous operation. It starts with extraction. When you assign a linear issue to Copilot, it pulls the description and comment thread to build operational context. That payload is then transferred into a temporary, isolated development environment powered by GitHub Actions. Inside this sandbox, the agent works independently. It navigates the repository, writes logic, and tests changes securely away from production branches. Despite this isolation, it streams progress updates directly back to your original linear activity timeline. Once the agent finishes the task, it commits the changes to a specific branch and opens a draft pull request for you to review. Your project management board acts as an active trigger for code deployment. Before you trigger that deployment, you establish the rules of engagement. You have a distinct set of controls to dictate exactly how the agent behaves. Using a feature called Agent Guidance, you can set your preferred language models at the workspace level or point the system toward custom agents housed in your own repository to match your team's specific workflows. You specify branch naming conventions and the default base branch directly from the management layer, ensuring the repository stays organized. If the requirements shift while the agent is running, you can steer it dynamically. By mentioning Copilot in a new comment on the issue thread, you inject new instructions mid-session to course-correct the output. But granting an autonomous system the ability to generate code carries inherent risks. First, the agent requires explicit write access to your repository. Additionally, because it captures the entire conversational context, any sensitive data or flawed assumptions left in the comments will directly influence the code it produces. The agent will confidently execute incorrect instructions. That is why an agent-generated pull request mandates strict human review before merging. Looking at the macro architecture of a repository, we see a heavy reliance on the quality of these upstream inputs. Because agents work directly from issue descriptions, the clarity of the initial ticket determines the quality of the final code. Project management itself becomes the core engine of production. Maintaining precise repository instructions and enforcing strict permission models elevate from basic administrative chores to essential operational guardrails. This also places a massive burden on your CI/CD pipeline. Robust automated testing is required to catch agent-generated errors before a human reviewer ever sees them. When you allow systems to scale output automatically, organizational discipline in how you define work and test results becomes your primary defense against compounding errors. What we are observing is the platform operating as a central router for a wide array of specialized coding agents. Different tasks, from security audits to refactoring legacy systems, can be delegated to distinct agents through a single interface. The daily responsibilities of a software developer are migrating away from the syntax of implementation and towards systems design and verification. The role of the human engineer is not disappearing. Instead, it is moving permanently upstream to a point of governance and architectural control. Writing software now depends less on manually typing every change and more on your ability to clearly define work that a machine can execute and a human can confidently verify.